I've got other roles, and they also have other members of the family or people they're connected to. So it's a useful way of building up a wider network, and just builds a compelling case for hiring you. Why you? You know, why should somebody looking for an ed hire you? And what can you bring and show? But also don't forget, and I think the thing, I put this in the bottom because over and over and over, people forget that what they learn out of larger organisations is highly relevant in small organisations, but not everybody who is in those organisations is familiar with that. So if we're talking about sort of anti-money laundering, if we're talking about data protection, not everybody in a small charity or a school on a school board would actually know about that. So if you know that type of thing out of your own organisation, then you're bringing that in to them, but you're bringing experience and skills they haven't got. But don't underestimate what you actually do know, because I've had a few people say to me, "Oh, I don't know very much," and then you talk about something and go, "Hold on, but you know that," and "Oh, hold on, you know that." So don't underestimate what you're going to be bringing to these people, but do the due diligence on them as well, because you don't want to find yourself just rushing in with arms open and then find you've got 2 or 3 years where it's difficult actually to pull away. So I think that's broadly where we are on the presentation. I think we're going to do a panel discussion and have a quick little conversation. Thank you. We're going to be...
Can I introduce our panellists this evening? Neil. Hello. I'll let him say who he is. He has a day job as a sort of interim turnaround COO restructuring officer, but in between times he does projects for Cranfield Trust.
Yeah, sure. Do whatever you want. Thank you. Hello. I think I've probably just got a couple of minutes, Tony, haven't I?
Yeah.
So I'll just quickly position who I am and what I know a little bit about, and then at least you can ask me questions about something I know about, which always helps me. I, as a day job, have been doing restructuring at the board level for banks, private equity, hard-nosed stuff for maybe 20, 25 years. As CEO, COO, Chief Restructuring Officer, consultant, and mentor. In between those, I do a charity job, and I've worked with people like Save the Children all over the world. I've probably worked for 15 to 20 charities, and most of them, or a lot of them, I've worked through the Cranfield Trust. And Alice, my colleague, is here with us today as well, and she's responsible for looking after a lot of the consultancy projects. So, talking about pro bono rather than the commercial work I do, then I've probably worked on 15 projects. The Cranfield Trust has been going for 30 years. It was first of all challenged by Princess Anne with the Cranfield students, Cranfield Business School, who I'm sure you probably know of, is a great business school, to give some more back. Cranfield Trust has now been going for 30 years. It works on about 300 projects a year, and there are about 1,000 volunteers. But there's plenty of projects that Alice is looking for volunteers for, from a pro bono point of view, at board levels and at other levels, particularly in London at the moment, with the City Bridge Trust, which I'm sure if you speak to Alice, she'll tell you more about. I would say there are 4 things that the Cranfield Trust specialises in. One is consultancy projects, which are very broad. Secondly, tailored HR advice, which she's been doing for quite a long time. Mentoring, which is a sort of important activity, which I'll talk about briefly in a minute, if that's all right, and masterclasses it runs as well. So the Cranfield Trust mission is to provide free business skills to build successful charities. And the people that work for the Cranfield Trust tend to be highly skilled, but that doesn't mean to say you've got to have an MBA, you've just got to bring experience to it. So of those 3 things, I think the thing I would take out of that, having talked to Tony and we talked this morning, Sarah, is that you may want to develop a board career, and being a trustee is a good way to maybe do that and test that out with very different sizes of organisations. And I've worked in organisations where I've maybe had 100 people reporting to me, or I've had 3 reporting to me. The challenges only become more the smaller they are, not the bigger they are, and you learn more in terms of leadership, as much around the smaller ones because they've got even less resource. But what I would say is that, first of all, in terms of mentoring projects that the Cranfield Trust do, there's less of a commitment probably in terms of the amount of time, although you still do it over 6 months. It's a way to work with people if you like working with people. Secondly, in terms of the projects, they're more of a commitment across probably more functional disciplines, from strategy, marketing, sales, operations, HR, ICT, finance, for example. But it's not the same level of commitment as you would have to make as a trustee, where you might be in there for a number of years. And it gives you a chance, I think, to look at an organisation below the bonnet, before you commit longer term, or it helps you to understand charities a bit better before you make a commitment to a trustee of any particular charity. If that's the sort of route you're looking to get your skills up in terms of becoming a better board person, which frankly is just a better leader really, and I find that I learn far more from charities than ever I teach them, whatever the size is, and you get more out of giving something to them than you ever, get back, if that's the right way around. So my own view is that charities really need our help, that we can really make a difference. But my view about commercial and charity is I don't see them as being any different. I mean, charities have just as much challenge as commercial organisations. The only difference is that in charities the profit goes back into the charity, and in commercial it goes to the shareholders. It's no excuse to lose money or to do it badly or not to meet the challenges in terms of leadership, whether you've got 3 people reporting to you or 500. They're just the same. And I think the onus around doing good work in charities and providing leadership is even more challenging, and therefore if that's something you are doing or choose to do, it's very worthwhile work, and your skills are desperately needed. I'll stop there.
Questions?
I think you mentioned that it is advisable to take out insurance, and you did mention neither this is a question to Sarah, but anyway, it's welcome to answer. Trustee insurance, but if you already have PII, professional indemnity, do you still need that trustee insurance?
The charity ought to be taking out trustee insurance anyway, for the trustees. I think it's trying to look at where the gaps are between the cover in different things, and the responsibility is still there even though you have as much insurance as you could possibly take out, and you probably wouldn't be able to take out some individual insurance. I mean, I don't know whether you ever did in some of the roles that you've taken on, but I think you need to understand what insurance cover you have got, and then what gaps are effectively in that, and therefore, what are you doing on your board to make sure that you're getting assurance on some of those, particularly the health and safety and regulatory issues, to be sure that you're asking the right questions, so that if anyone ever came to that board to ask, how could you evidence what you're doing day to day? So in a way, it's almost like a juxtaposition of insurance and what you're doing actively on that board.
I would never persuade people not to get insurance, but my personal insurance is to do a good job. And I suppose if I look at it over 25 years, I don't know about you, but I've never heard of anybody being sued on it. So while I wouldn't say don't get insurance, I never have done. I just try and do a good job.